Hey, what's going on, you guys? JPB Productions here, and today I'm going to be reviewing one heck of an episode. It was a very, very good episode. Just calculating in my head to figure out what number it was. It was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Episode 12. So this is my recap of episode 12 of Survivor 43. Amazing, amazing episode. This was a lot of fun. So, I'll get back to this, but like the main point, Jesse made this episode phenomenal. Thank you, Jesse, for making this one of, if not the best episode of the new era. Honestly, like I don't think when I like really look at it, it's like okay, the Shan boot in Survivor 41, that was a pretty good episode. Survivor 42. What was the best episode in Survivor 42? I liked the merge episode. Um, I liked the premiere. The Drea boot was fun. I'd probably say like with 41 and 42, both seasons combined, despite the fact that 42 is better than 41, I think that the episode that Shan was voted out was the best episode across both seasons. And I think that this episode tops that episode. I think this was the best episode in between seasons 41, 42, and 43. Now, I think I think that the Ellie boot was the best episode leading up to that point of the season, and then we had the double boot episode, which had a lot of funny moments, made that the best episode of the season, leading up to that point. But I felt like this final six episode, the reason why I think it's the best episode of the season so far, isn't even because of how enjoyable it was. It's only because I feel like this episode couldn't have been any better. I don't think that anything about this episode could have made it more enjoyable to watch. And I think that the cards just kind of fell in so many different unique ways where there was a lot of complication that went into the vote in a way that we didn't really get to see at the Final 10 episode. Even though that was a really funny episode, it was two unanimous votes. And this vote it wasn't unanimous, it was almost unanimous, but there was a lot that went into this. I mean, I think it was impressive what Jesse did. And I think it was good gameplay. So yeah, there was, at the beginning of the episode, there was a reward challenge. Yeah, Sammy was voted out. It was unanimous, so nobody really complained about the vote. So there wasn't much that happened before the reward challenge. But yeah, we go into the reward challenge, and then I don't even remember what the three that won, honestly. I don't remember, but it was some sanctuary reward. Three people won it. They had to roll in that massive log, that massive like rolling thing. They're bringing back challenges that fans like. I mean, I do think that to some capacity, they are listening to the fans. They cut down on advantages. I think that the fan base was really annoyed when they put the knowledge is power back in, because they're comparing to what we had seen in 41 and 42, where they cut back on advantages. 3 idols on each beach. They didn't rehide any of them. So 3 idols. They didn't rehide any of them. And all 3 were still in the final 6. And 2 were played this final 6 round, and 1 can get played in the next episode. Jesse now has a one-way ticket to the final 4, where I actually think he's going to go home at 4. Talk about that later, but I just think Jesse's like too obvious of a win at this point to actually be the winner, so I do not see that happening. Okay, so let's think here. So I think yeah. So we had the reward challenge. There isn't much else to say about that. So right after that, I think there was more strategizing happening. Don't remember everything that happened. Who won immunity? Yeah, Cassidy won immunity, pretty close behind Cody. They were pretty toe to toe there. It was an interesting challenge. Oh yeah, right before the challenge, where Carla was fake crying because Carla and Cassidy have lost trust, and they were BFFs at some point, and then Carla made a move, and Cassidy thinks that she's a snake now because she's getting information that Carla targeting her was 100% real, and it created this rivalry that will still be in the game at the Final 5. They're both still in the game. I think what's probably going to come of it is I think that Cassidy is going to get underestimated, where I think if she makes it to the end with Owen and Gabler, I think she has a real strong chance of winning the game, and I think people might actually overlook that. So I think what's probably going to happen is I think Carla's probably just going to go home unanimously at the Final 5, with Cassidy not having immunity nor being in any danger. And then yeah, and then maybe Carla will vote like Gable or something, kind of knowing it's not going to matter. So, like, I don't think anything's actually going to come of this, like, Cassidy Carla rivalry. They seem to be really hyping it up for some reason, so maybe it'll lead to something in the finale. Maybe they battle it out in fire making. Probably not, though. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Carla's going to go at 5, and I think Carla is going to either come close to winning at FTC, or she's going to win, or she's going to lose, either by being the fallen angel or an FTC loser because Jesse is sitting at the end. Because realistically, it's kind of Jesse's game to lose right now. Or like a bit of like the Rick Devens situation, you know. Rick Devens, it was his game to lose, and he lost. He could beat anybody easily, and he lost. Ben Driebergen, they were editing him as if it was like his game to lose, and then he wins the fire making challenge, and you're like kind of happy for him, but you're like, oh my god, this is so obvious. And then we found out why the editors had no problem making it so obvious that he was going to be the winner if he made it to the end, because at FTC it was not so obvious. The jury was really considering giving their votes to Chrissy or Ryan. So I think we could be seeing a similar situation with Jesse, or maybe his winning chances aren't as high. But even then, I still see him as your fire-making loser. I think Owen's going to win final immunity. He's going to throw himself in fire with Jesse, and Owen will prevail. And I don't even think Owen's going to win the game at that point. I think Cassidy or Gabler is actually probably going to pull it out at that point. So yeah, right before the challenge, we just kind of saw a rivalry from Cassidy and Carla. People were confirming to Cassidy that what Carla was saying was incorrect, and how she was definitely targeting Cassidy. So I think we could be seeing a rivalry between Cassidy and Carla going into this finale. Because it feels like it's gonna lead to something based off of the way that it's playing out. So yeah, I'll talk about the challenge, I guess. There isn't much to talk about. Cassidy won the challenge. Very close to Cody. Cody ended up going home at the tribal council, so if Cody had won that, you know, he maybe could have gotten to Final 5. He would have obviously gotten to Final 5, and you know, if he accepts the idol from Jesse and holds on to it, he's in the Final 4. Could have won the game. Well, Cody's odds of winning were a bit lower. He needed to sit next to the right people, but yeah, I mean, this is right up there. Like this, I think Cody actually made a top 5 worst mistake in Survivor history. Honestly, I think that this was one of the worst moves in the history of the show. You know, Cody's also throughout the entire season, he was kind of this guy that he felt like he was really out there for the adventure, and it felt like he wasn't playing the game. I would have never thought that it would lead to him making one of the worst mistakes in Survivor history. I mean, like, I would say what Eric Rakenbach did was worse. What James did, where he went home with 2 idols in China, that was worse. JT not playing his idol at the Michaela vote, not when it was between him and Michaela going home and Game Changers, was stupid. Him handing the idol to Russell was stupid. But I feel like after that, what's number 5? I think it's Cody giving the idol back to Jesse. I think it was a really, really poor move and a poor execution. So right after the challenge, we have Cody and Carla talking, and they're basically like, hey, we're just going to threaten and say, hey, we're playing our idols. No matter what, we're playing our idols. It's between Owen and Gabler. I don't know why Jesse's name wasn't even an option in the mix. Maybe because he had 2 idols. I mean, Jesse's impressing me, man. I mean, Gabler hasn't gotten any votes either, which is also very impressive after the Ellie boot, but it feels like people kind of just forgot about the Ellie boot, and people just aren't as threatened by Gabler at this point. You know, when Ellie was voted out, but she's not even on the jury. So for that reason, I think people subconsciously feel like it doesn't matter, even though that's the interesting thing about Survivor. You can make the biggest move ever, the most cool, flashy move, taking out a big threat that's playing really hard, but if they aren't even on the jury and you do it way too early, people forget about it. People subconsciously act like it doesn't count. So even though that is kind of the case, it does kind of impress me that Gabler hasn't got any votes. But Jesse, man, how is this dude, like, how are they not seeing him? Omar was controlling things at all angles, but he got votes at Final 6. He got 3 votes. And, you know, people might have known that Jesse had custody of 2 idols. His own. They were probably skeptical of him having one. They might have... Actually, no, they don't even know that he had one because Dwight never even released it. So if they thought Cody had an idol, and they didn't know about Janine's idol going to Jesse. Did Jesse have? Did they think Jesse might have 0 idols? Unless they like, if they think that he has custody of Cody's idol, then yeah, he has 1 idol. But Cody was able to threaten that he had the idol. Did people actually think that he didn't have an idol? And they're not targeting him at all, despite everything that he's doing, and he's showing the audience that he's playing an impressive game. Jesse is doing well. He's honestly, like, if he wins, like, he's probably better than Ricard. I think he's the best player of the 40s now. Well, I think he actually, like, you could make the argument that he's already the best player of the 40s. I mean, like, yeah, Ricard didn't win, but maybe that's a hot take. That's personally my hot take. I think Ricard is, including Erica and Marianne, I think Ricard is the best player of the new era, not the 40s. Sorry, in the new era, 41 to 43. I think so far Ricard's the best player. But like, based off of what we've seen so far, I guess I'm just not including 43 players because Jesse might be better. He's doing a good job. So Cody and Carla have the conversation where they're like, we're going to both play our idols and we're just going to threaten. And apparently Jesse's like totally safe throughout all of this. Cassidy has the necklace. Okay, Owen and Gabler, you guys got to vote for each other. It's going to be one of you. And then Cody and Carla have this conversation. And then Cody goes to Jesse. And I was originally thinking that this was going to be like Cody's big diabolical moment. He's going to make a really big move. So Cody goes to Jesse and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna tell Carla, hey, like we're gonna buddy up and we're gonna tell everybody that we're gonna play our idols, but we're not actually gonna play our idols." And then Carla, in her confessional, she then says, what'd she say? She was like reviewing what the plan was. Where basically it's like, okay, we're gonna tell everybody that we're playing our idols, but we're not actually gonna play our idols. I'm gonna work with Cody and we're gonna bluff. Nobody's gonna vote for us at Final 6, and we're gonna play our idols at Final 5 and one-way ticket to the Final 4. So it kind of felt like they had her hook, line, and sinker, but Carla did like the smart thing with the unsmart thing, where she read through it by playing her idol, but she was ultimately able to do enough groundwork where she was no longer the target. So it ended up being Cody. So Cody goes to Jesse and he's like, so this is going to be a great move. It's going to be a really cool move. I'm going to tell Carla, hey, we're buddying up, and we're going to try our best to protect each other and convince everybody that we're for sure playing our idols. And then we're actually not going to play them. We're both safe because everyone's going to be scared to vote for us, and then we're going to play them at 5, guaranteeing ourselves a spot in the Final 4. And then Jesse uses this, and he's like, yeah, I could vote Carla out, or I could vote Cody out. So this kind of took time to build up. It didn't happen right away. But before the whole idea of voting Cody presented itself, I was honestly sitting here like, this is going to be Cody's breakthrough moment. He's going to make this big move, and maybe he has a shot of winning the game now. And maybe he is this hidden JT, and we aren't really seeing, him having as much brain work as he does. Because, I kind of see the Cody-Jesse dynamic as kind of like the JT and Steven, where in season 18 of Survivor, the Cody would win. But now, maybe the Jesse would win. But to not risk anything, Jesse knows that, social players can be rewarded. Erica beat Xander. Xander, it might have just been editing, but Erica's game was more respected than Xander's, and I think social gameplay played a role. So I think that Jesse thought that this was a move that he felt like he needed to make to not risk anything. So he pulls the trigger and he votes Cody out. And it was kind of out of nowhere, to be honest. I mean, maybe Jesse said that he had an idol that he was going to play on himself, and then he plays it on Owen, and he talks plans out with Cody about voting potentially Owen, and Carla actually plays her. I don't know how the idea to vote Owen exactly came up, in the sense of why Cody did it. I'm not entirely sure. But I think that Cody was disappointed in Jesse. I mean, at Tribal Council, Jesse offers the handshake, and then he just like isn't sure if he wants to accept it. I was kind of scared Cody was going to punch him in the face. I was like putting myself in Cody's shoes. I was like, man, he must be so pissed at Jesse. But he was a team sport about it, and it was a really cool moment to see them shake hands right after, and Cody like somewhat respected the move. So yeah, Gabler again didn't really play much of a role in this episode. He was just kind of vibing around. I mean, after the reward, he proposed some final three deal. I think it was like with Owen and Cassidy, or Jesse and Cassidy, or whoever it was, because they all had different stories or something. I don't even remember. I think it was Jesse and Cassidy. So yeah, Gabler was just talking about a potential final three idea, but I'm not sure because like, maybe that was reminiscing of what's actually gonna happen. Maybe the final three is Gabler, Cassidy, and Jesse, but I feel like the win is just so obvious at that point that it's like, how does Jesse not win? Or maybe Cassidy wins. So it's like, it's difficult. I just feel like Cassidy's gotten a bit of like the Erica and even like somewhat Marianne edit, where it's like, okay, she's like that sort of irrelevant person that's just kind of there that, could win, just that they're hiding the winner. It feels repetitive enough where it's like, maybe they are going to give the more typical winners edit, Like if we're looking at Tommy Sheehan's edit or Tony Vlachos's Winners at War edit, then Jesse has a more similar edit to that because it's a little bit more obvious. And hey, I'd be okay with that. Like right now, I'm really kind of hoping Jesse or Gabler ends up pulling out this win. Gabler winning would be iconic. Alla Gabler, Gabler, all the way, baby. Every day. And then Jesse is just phenomenal at the game. And based off of the fact that it feels after Erica and Marianne, like it would actually be somewhat annoying to me if Cassidy won. Because it's like, again, you're gonna have like the not as obvious person win. And maybe the editors are gonna like totally surprise us, and then like Owen can win. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, I think right now, like, I just don't see any way how Owen or Carla win. I think that Carla, it's like there's no way you're getting to the end. I just don't see that. Like, I just don't. I feel like you'll lose Final Four immunity, you'll get thrown in fire if you're there, and you'll lose to someone who's better than you. And then if you lose Final Five immunity, Jesse as an idol, why would you not vote her out? I think Carla's just not making it to the end. I think Owen, like, he kind of has like an FTC losers edit. He doesn't have a winner's edit. His edit, honestly, like, even though they might try and hide winners, I still feel like they would like put in little snippets of like positive content a little bit more frequently. Where like Owen's not winning. Like, there's just no point. They aren't like hyping him up in a good narrative where you would even want to see him win. So it's like, I wouldn't even particularly think that that's like a positive ending to this season if Owen won. I honestly wouldn't be that happy with Owen winning. I would have liked him to have a different edit than what he's getting. But like, as of now, I think that like if it's a final three of Cassidy, Gabler, and Owen, it's a very, very competitive final three. It's probably going to be a very close vote. Carla's just not making it there. And then if Jesse makes it there, why would he not run the jury clean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, we're even seeing now, like, the jury's genuinely rooting for him. They think Jesse's playing a great game. And, like, we saw Marianne pull off the Omar move, and it was an impressive move, and the jury was impressed with it. And it felt like going into the finale, it was so obvious that Marianne was your winner. And, yeah, she pulled it out. So what's interesting, though, about this finale, I actually don't think it's that obvious. Like, I was pretty sure Erica was going to win going into the 41 finale. I was positive, like 99.7% sure that Marianne was going to win going into the finale of 42. That was not hit well. This season, it's hit a little bit better, where it's like, I can see that Carla's not going to win. I don't care what anybody says. Carla's not winning. Owen, I can see that he's not winning. But the other three, it really could be any of them. Gabler, Jesse, or Cassidy is your winner for this season, and I don't know which one it's going to be, and I'm really looking forward to finding out. It's a wide open finale. I think that you can't really know for sure how that's going to play out because you don't. I mean, it could be any of those three, so I'm looking forward to it. So I don't know if there's anything else specifically that I want to say about this episode. I'm just pondering, trying to think if there's anything like relevant enough that I forgot about. Oh yeah, so Jesse apparently went to Cody and said, I think Carla might have the rehidden knowledge is power advantage. This was in a post-game press interview. This wasn't on the show. But apparently, Jesse went to Cody and said, apparently Carla is going to use the knowledge is power advantage on you to try and get the idol back from him. Because I was wondering, like, how did Cody give the idol back to Jesse? How did Jesse convince Cody to do that? That is mastermind tricks. That's very, very impressive. Jesse was put on this season because casting thought that he would be a good player. It's not because of life experience. You know, him having his whole story of how he was originally affiliated with a gang to graduating at Duke. It's like they're telling him that story and they're like hyping him up in that way because he's going to be a relevant force throughout the entire season, and be like a main character. But he wasn't cast for the show because of his storytelling ability or his story at all. He was cast for the show because Jesse is out there to play some good Survivor. Jesse is out there on Survivor 43, a themeless season, outwit, outplay, outlast, and he's going out there to play a good game of Survivor. Other than Omar, he is the singular best player when it comes to knowledge of the game that we have seen in the past 7 seasons. Like, other than Winners at War. Outside of Winners at War, I think that if you look at 42, 41, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, like any of these seasons, there was no newbie on it that understands the game as much as Jesse does, with the exception of Omar. That's what I think. I genuinely am very impressed with Jesse this season, regardless of if he wins or not. I think it's very impressive what he's doing. I commend the hell out of it. He's playing some good Survivor. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else specifically. Yeah, Gabler didn't do too much. Cassidy, I would have expected more content from if she was actually going to be your winner, but I'm not entirely ruling it out. Carla's not making it to the end. Jesse's probably your fire-making loser. Him winning is just way too obvious at this point. Or maybe he'll get to the end and he'll be like this epic winner, you know, the next Kim Spradlin. So, yeah. Well, Kim Spradlin was like a more obvious winner, so that's kind of what I mean by that. I don't know what else to say, really. Great episode. They were talking about how it's the final 6. This could play out in so many different ways. They were like cutting to each person and how each person felt confident with their plans, but it will be a crazy vote. I mean, it was some good Survivor, good editing, good gameplay, all around exactly what you want in an episode. And the season's coming to a close. Next episode is the finale, and this is. I've been reviewing this Survivor 43 episodes this entire time. I took a really long hiatus from this channel since it's been a while. I've changed a lot as a human being. I'm a very different person now than I was way back when I was like in my infancy on this channel or when I was halfway done. So it's been fun talking about the season, hopping on here and just rambling about it. It's been really, really fun. I've enjoyed this season quite a bit. So yeah, that's all for me. It's going to be a very interesting finale. Final episode of the season. There's going to be an advantage up for grabs that apparently Gabler gets. We saw that in the preview. So I think he may get an advantage in the challenge. And or it could be like some different advantage to spice things up. Maybe he gets an extra jury vote or something. So, yeah. I think that if I had to predict right now, I think I've already kind of talked about it, but I'm thinking... I feel pretty confident about a few things. Carla is your finale boot. Jesse is your fallen angel. Owen is your third place finalist. And then where I'm not as sure is Gabler and Cassidy. I kind of feel like the final 3 is going to be Cassidy, Gabler, and Owen, because I'm kind of watching and I'm like, how can it not be any other final 3? Like, unless Jesse and Carla are sitting at the end together and it's supposed to be like this really competitive final 3 where the other person there can't win. It's like, how, and even then, like, how does Carla not go out at 5 or 4? Like, how do you not take her out? She's the biggest threat left in the game other than Jesse, so if she loses final 5 immunity, and Jesse has an idol and everybody knows that he has it, which he'll probably just be upfront and honest about it, because if he has it and he's playing it, he'll probably think Carla's going home anyways if she doesn't have immunity. So it's like, how do you not vote Carla out? Like, you have to, and then even if she makes final 4, someone can beat her in fire, right? Like, Owen can beat her in fire. Sure, Gabler's pretty good. I don't think Cassidy's that good. I don't think Jesse's that good. But you can easily throw the one amongst the two of Owen and Gabler that's there at Final Four with Carla in fire, and then she loses. So Carla is not making it to the end. So many people think she might win, she might win, she might win. Everybody knows that she's a threat outside of Jesse. Outside of Jesse, she is the biggest threat. And I think people assume that that's the case. Now, I think they might be undermining Gabler a little bit in the sense that with the right FTC, I actually think Gabler has a chance of beating Carla, but probably not. So if Jesse has an idol, and he might be decent in challenges, granted, Carla's done better in challenges, but I just think the types of challenges that they put late in the game, I don't think Carla's going to be that good at. I mean, if it's some massive maze with like a puzzle, or it's like some motion, or if it's some balancing thing, I just feel like Carla's odds of winning won't be as high as they've been in the past, despite the fact that she already has 2 individual immunity wins. So, yeah, Carla 5, Jesse 4, because it's just a little bit too obvious at this point. Like, how does Jesse lose if he makes it to the end? There's just no way. Owen 3, Cassidy 2, Gabler 1. This entire season, I've never said that Gabler is actually going to win. But I'm starting to think maybe he will, Like, it would kind of come out of nowhere, it'd be very mysterious. But they've hyped Gabler up in the right way. I mean, we can look back on the season and rewatch the entire season and realize, wow, a Gabler win is really, really satisfying to close the season out. I mean, I'm not complaining in the slightest bit. This is a phenomenal, phenomenal conclusion. So, yeah, that's I think Gabler honestly might win the game. So, I think like Cassidy has a chance if it's that final 3. And I think Cassidy's edit has backed a win more. But it's like, how do you edit Gabler better? Like, nobody would think Gabler's type would win. But how realistically would you edit Gabler to make him look better? I mean, like, they want to show other characters. You kind of think if Gabler's your winner, they would, like, emphasize his importance a little bit more. But he's, talked about winning the $1 million, which is always a certain quote that they put a lot. I said that I was done with this video a while ago, but I guess I'm still going. So, they whenever someone says that they're going to win the $1 million, it's usually a quote that's like pretty positively received. So Gabler could still win. Honestly, it's so out of left field that you just kind of think that there's just no way. But like as of now, yeah, I'm thinking 5 Carla, 4 Jesse, 3 Owen, 2 Cassidy, 1 Gabler. Those are my predictions. The entire season, I've never set the Gablers to winner. I said at the beginning that Gabler was going to be the first boot of the season. Now I'm saying that he is your winner. That is crazy. Gabler has done a great job. I think from the get-go he stood out in a big way, and I felt like it would be really difficult for him to get over that hump. He was talking about how he wasn't sure how good he'd be socially, integrating in, and here he is, playing, I think, a very good game. I think Gabler has played a very good game. The problem with Gabler's game, though, is the only way how he can win is if he eliminates all the threats in his way. He already, kind of took an L by Cody going home. Like, that, even then, it's like, it would have been better if Jesse went home. His name hasn't come up at all. It's super impressive. But, yeah, you vote Jesse out here. You vote Jesse out. That way you only have to deal with Carla and maybe Cody. But even then, Gabler with the right FTC can beat Cody. So it's like, I think what Gabler's doing is pretty good. But there are some flaws with that game, the type of game that he's playing, and that you need to be sitting at the end with the right people. Otherwise, you can't win. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. 5 Carla, 4 Jesse, 3 Owen, 2 Cassidy, 1 Gabler. Those are my predictions going into the finale. I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out. Yeah, I'm JP Productions. Thank you guys again for watching.